Okay, I think it's time. And we'll be respectful to your time. So thank you so much for being here today at the AWS and Amazon booth at VivaTech. We are very happy to host you for this session with Hugging Face and Sia Partners to speak about generative AI and if it matters and how it matters for CEOs. So I'm Valérie Koskas. I'm head of partners for AWS in France. And I will hand over just now to Bassem and to David so that they introduce themselves.
Thank you, Valérie. Thank you for the rest of the team at AWS for organizing this, and thanks for the people who are attending today. My name is Bassem. I am the head of sales at Hugging Face. Joined the team 9 months ago, open source machine learning, and my background is mostly open source software for 15, 20 years. David?
Hi everyone, so I'm very happy to be here, and thanks a lot again to AWS team for hosting this event. So I'm David, I'm Deputy CEO of Sia Partners. Sia Partners is a management consulting firm, but on my side I'm managing the AI part of Sia Partners, so we are globally 3,000 consultant team, but 10%, so 300 are data scientists and AI people, so definitely we're running a lot of things around that, and I'm doing that job since too much years maybe.
So super glad to have you there. Two partners of AWS, a software vendor and a consulting partners, super complementary. So a really great match here. I will start with you, Bassem. It seems that VivaTech this year is all about generative AI. So generative AI, buzz or reality?
Well, I understood that yesterday someone apparently very famous in France, came and talked about AI, generally speaking, and open source machine learning also. I don't think it's a buzzword, even though there is a hype since probably December. For some reason, I guess you guessed why, the reason why since December. Our feeling at Hugging Face is that probably in the years 2010, 2011, 2012, people were considering that software was eating the world. Our vision today is that machine learning is eating software that is eating the world. So most likely the future of software is happening within the machine learning landscape, and we feel that the open source side of machine learning can be very helpful for that.
Okay, thank you so much for your point of view. Then David, you said that you've been with Sia Partner and in this business for too many years. So, generative AI or classical AI, what's the difference?
Okay, so I think everyone now is a bit clear with that, but globally, if we want to summarize the thing, we are having AI techniques since a lot of time that we are just capable to analyze data to make it possible to have better analyzing of things and making decision easier based on data analysis. So with generative AI, since it's called, AI is capable to generate new content. So something which is not inside the data you have been seeing, not discriminative, I say, but new content which has been produced from things that he has learned previously based on analyzing patterns and so on. But what he's creating is something which is fully new. So it doesn't mean that our customer and the people who are working on things do always need generative things. So today there is a huge buzzword on that. So we have a lot of question of clients and customers and so on that are seeing us to see how they can apply things around generative AI on their use case, their business case, their industry. Sometimes the answer is not something generative, it's something which is discriminative, something that was existing 10 years ago. 10 years ago when we were speaking about that, they were saying, oh, we have no budget for that. This is something which is not needed, and now they have budget. This is urgent because it's generative, but it's, yeah. So, but definitely it's opened a new world anyway. I'm fully in line with Bassem on that. Techniques have been evolving fast. There have been a spot on that since ChatGPT and so on, because it has been open to everyone. Opening to everyone make the birds. There were not so much new techniques, but opening it, giving it to somebody it was very easy to prompt with that and use it, makes the birds, and it's useful for all AI things and all AI landscape today.
Okay, thank you. Opening the world, a lot of noise, a lot of players, What's the positioning of Hugging Face in this world or ecosystem of players?
So probably some of you have already used Hugging Face, the hub. That's something that is made available for everyone, for all of the community, for free. We like to consider it as the home of this community of machine learning engineers, community of data scientists, meaning that this is where they will be able to have access to the models, have access to the data sets, have access to the research papers, potentially publish models, publish data sets, publish research papers. And to be honest with you, I stopped counting the number of models because I would say maybe a month ago we were at 150,000 models available on Hugging Face. And last time I checked, couple of days, we were a bit more than 250,000 models, which means that the community is growing because the ideas, the creativity of the community is growing, and the use cases are also growing, and probably we are finding more and more solutions to the existing questions and challenges that businesses are having. So Hugging Face is the home of the open source machine learning community. That's the site that you already know, and for enterprises, they can also access a private side of it, the hub as you know it, but privately, plus some expertise that we can provide most of the time with partners like Sia and also partners like AWS.
Okay, thank you. So open source can be used privately, very important. You mentioned 250,000 models. It seems like a lot. Is it necessary to have that many models? Isn't it like too much? Isn't it maybe missing a bit of simplicity?
Actually, it will continue on growing because we really believe that the one size fits all or one ring to rule them all, depending on which expression you prefer, that doesn't exist. It might exist today, but on the longer term, just like with software, you will always have flavors, and depending on the challenge you are trying to solve, you will choose one of those flavors. If you are someone who's really going deep into that research and that domain, you will be able to find it yourself. If you feel that you need the help of some people who are knowledgeable about machine learning, generally speaking, and about open source machine learning, then you can come to us, ask questions. And I think it's the same for Sia, because partners are also able to help you select which models can be the best fit for your challenges.
So interestingly, maybe you will jump on that to describe the types of use cases on which you work with our clients.
Yeah, and maybe just before jumping to the use case, one more thing about the number of models and so on. We have been seeing since ChatGPT and so on a huge increase in the number of parameters, white we call that in the foundation models, and making more and more performing models with a higher number of parameters. And we were quite seeing that the more you have parameters, the more performant is the model. It's not exactly true, I will say. And globally, there is a sustainability point to take into account. If we do think that the bigger model will be always the one size fits all, as you said, capable to address everything, sometimes we will be having a very huge thing with a lot of consumption of energy, water, whatever you want, pre-training, things on request, on demand, that to solve a very simple issue. So the number of models is not only to find the best model for the best accuracy on the one use case, but is also to be capable to offer the best performance with the same accuracy. And in this case, if we want to have sustainable things, be capable to run that and scale it over a large number of use cases everywhere in every kind of business, there is definitely a question of that, and this is too sustainable. There will be several models.
Super important. Yeah, thank you.
So your question was not about that.
It was about use cases.
Yeah, the question was about use cases. So definitely, so you all know that generative AI is capable to take a lot of type of data in input and generate a lot of type of data in output. So text, speech, images, videos, whatever you want, in one way and the other way. But it's just about technique. The thing is that we should not think about technique, but think about use case. So on our side, we are at the beginning a management consulting firm. So we are seen by our customers as problem solvers. So my team is an AI team. We are not only designing and scoping, we are delivering, building and running the use cases, but our question is always the use case. Like a good consultant, we are starting by that. What is the use case? What are the requirements? And if we just try to test technique for something. It could be done as an experimentation level, but it should not drive the way you will incorporate or deploy such kind of techniques in the company. So use cases, we can find dozens every day. We go on linking and so on. There are new ideas and use cases, but according to me, we should put them in matrix, which is giving the value of the use cases. There will be some use cases on which they will be everywhere. I mean, generative AI is going to populate a lot of apps. It will be in Google, it will be in your search, it will be in your email generation, it will be in your slide things. Could be PPT or Google Slide, I don't care. There will be generative AI everywhere. You have seen there is a prompt now in Photoshop in the beta version so that you create new content with Photoshop. So it will be here, and that means it's intrinsic. That means this is something on which the user cannot decide to have it or not. It will be inside. The only question is how do you make it available or not as a company to your employees, and how do you train them to use the best this kind of thing. But everyone will have access to that, and everyone will do generative AI wherever you want it or not. Second type of use case, I will say, things that will be more not intrinsic but developed by everyone. There are use cases around the CRM, the customer care, or things like that, that everyone is going to deploy. According to me, it's not a question of, so that means, for sure, you have to do it, but it will not be a competitive advantage. The only question is, if you do not do it, how are you going to be distanced a little bit, because everyone will do it but you. And the last type of use case is something that will be more descriptive, for sure, where it will be a real competitive advantage, because it will give you something that nobody else but you have. And this is one column of the matrix. I will go fast, but the second column of the matrix for sure is the complexity to get that. So embedded things for intrinsic things, very simple. Then you will have things on which you just need to use the models that are on the shelf, plug it with APIs or whatever you want in your core systems, and you will be using it very quickly. Then things on which you need to tune models that are existing, more data science things behind, but you need to tune the model. And finally, I would say on the last part of the axis, something on which you need to create a new foundation model. The foundation model is the model on which the algorithms are pre-trained. And for sure, if you want to make a new drug, for example, maybe the foundation model is not the same as if you just learn English. You need to learn about molecules and things like that. The more we are on this axis, the more there is complexity. So the value is at the crossing of those two things. For sure, you are not going to develop a new foundation model for something that has no value, because the cost will be very high. But maybe the most descriptive and the most competitive advantage will be only by those things. So we will try to create the most value and try to get a little bit on the upper part of my matrix. And after that, you can create things in all sectors. We have been and all kinds of use cases for employee assisting, for replacing processes, for having new ideas, for creating new things, for going quicker, generating code, whatever you want.
Okay, thank you. Maybe, Bassem, you can give us some very concrete examples of use cases that your clients have implemented.
Sure. So think about a company that works in the transportation industry. They have planes that travel all over the world, and they put shipments in those planes or in those trains or in those ships. They have agencies locally in every continent, almost in every country, and in their business, contracts are very important. Contract is a set of words, set of sentences. Contract is something that can be understood by machine learning models. Contracts can be generated by machine learning models. And typically, because your contracts always look the same, they have a specific kind of English or French or Arabic or whatever. They have a specific kind of language. So typically in this case, if you want your knowledge base that allows your attorneys all over the world to generate the actual contracts for you, or your salespeople or whomever, well, actually you have two possibilities. Either you can go use the huge model that is ChatGPT, to talk about it, like GPT-4 or whatever, and this model will be able to help you with those contracts, will be able to help you with philosophy, with history, with the history of arts, with many other things that are not related to your business. That's one option. The other option is to use smaller models, most likely open source models. You decide where you want to host them, in which country, at AWS of course. And most important, you will be able to fine-tune them on the data sets that you have, meaning on those specific contracts that you have, and that will be able to give you much better performance, with a lower cost. That's one example. Few other examples that we could give. Imagine you are a retail company, and the retail company usually has a website. That website you receive from providers descriptions of the products that you will be selling, text descriptions, sorry, and images from time to time. Most of the time you will be, doing it the old way, the old-fashioned way. You will take one product, the description, categorize it yourself. Like this is a T-shirt, this is trousers, these are shoes. Actually, with a machine learning model, you will be able to let the machine categorize the content for you, whether the text or the images. That's part of what machine learning can do, both from a B2B perspective, also a B2C perspective. I mean, whatever industry you are in, there are things that can be automated, and you would automate them best with the models that fit the challenge you are trying to face, trained on or fine-tuned on the data set that is coming from your own specific business.
Okay, great. I think it would be interesting to know if, because I think that Sia, you have already delivered missions for some clients using Hugging Face. Do you have some of those examples that you could share?
Yeah, exactly in the same time of thing you were saying. I will start by an internal one, but which is quite in the same category of things. But so we are a consulting provider, so we have a lot of customers that ask us a lot of requirements in terms of our internal policies regarding the way you do the IT, the way we do a couple of things like that. And for sure, it's taking a lot of time to answer all these requests for proposal, requests for MSAs, and so on. And finally, the questions are quite always the same. But if I ask the question to ChatGPT or whatever you want, this kind of model, it will give the answer that are generic one and that are not the one with my policies. So we have trained a model just on our IT policies, for example, and we give to the model a very live model on Hugging Face, and we have trained that on our IT policies. And each time one of our customers requests us, "Oh, how do you manage that type of certification on those things?" It's generated from all our policies around the world by a tool like that. So this is a simple one, but we're also doing a lot of things with image recognition and so on which we today the fact that we do some more generative things has transformed the way we are capable to do things and be very faster on that. And so today there are a lot of customers on which we are working on that. We're also working on things about CRM. You said about the retailer. We have those kind of things, having the best. Okay, fed up with chatbots. Create a new one which is based on the real product things and which is not just an expert system with a couple of trees in the roots, and then you are capable to navigate within the configuration. Give it the documents, only the documents, small model, going fast, not getting out, and then you get a nice chatbot which is overperforming everything you have seen in terms of user experience.
Thanks. I think one of you, I think it was Bassem, I'm not sure, touched upon where the data was stored. Maybe you could expand a bit on that, and does the security, the reuse of your data, and all of this, is it a question that comes back often from your clients, and what's your answer?
Yeah, but maybe, I mean, people who are already very deep into machine learning will, of course, consider that what I will say is very lame. Of course, it's obvious, etc. Keep in mind that there are 4 success factors when you are working on a machine learning project. The skill set first, the people who are able to build these models, train these models, build the apps that go with them. The models actually that you will be using, selecting a model that fits best the challenges is the most important thing probably, and also the data set that allows you to fine-tune that model on your specific business issue. And last but not least, and this is where security and where is the data also plays a very important game. When you are building a software, you don't really think about the infrastructure until the end of the project most of the time. When you are building machine learning, you start using the infrastructure very early in the project. So the infrastructure question and where is the data hosted, where is the model hosted, that's something that you will shift left when you are building a project around machine learning, which is not the case with software, of course. And this also means that the data sovereignty, for example, is a question that is always put on the table very quickly by customers. And this is where you guys can help. Also, the data security. Am I sending my data, the data of my business, to some black box somewhere on the world or somewhere on Mars or on the moon or wherever? And will that black box be using my data to train itself for my competitor to use it too? That's a big question mark that needs to be asked. Most of the time in the terms and conditions, it is explained. And using open source is also something that helps you with this. It's not a matter of black box. You have access to the open source models. You decide where you want to, how you want to fine tune them, on which data, who has access to the fine tuned model, only you, and where do you want to host it. Typically you choose the country or at least the continent where you want to use it.
So if I'm not mistaken, this is a huge differentiation point, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the way we see things, first, we are on a mission to democratize good machine learning. And good machine learning is open source, at least it is transparent. You understand how it works, and you are able to fine-tune it to answer your business needs, and you avoid to use too big models for something that doesn't need them. I think you had an image about that.
An image? Which one? No, you want my big hammer for to splash a okay. No, but yeah, there's a question about using. Definitely, I was saying about sustainability, but if we come back a little bit to just to AI on data science, just previously, we have seen by the past some customers that were just wanting to make a linear regression. You see, just a line in the middle of a couple of points. You can do it in one click in Excel, but these people were doing machine learning for that. For sure, it's working, but for sure it's not efficient, and for sure it's costing too much. So we will have the same issue. But and coming back to what you said, Bassem, definitely there's a point about if we are sure that the data are coming at the right moment, at the right place, and they are not training the models, it creates also another thing which can be seen as a drawback, because in fact this model, the foundation model and so on, finally a large language model is learning the language. It doesn't learn so much. He has no real database of knowledge, but he has been using that knowledge to learn the language. So for example, if you have a very famous poem for a very famous writer, he will have seen that thousands, millions of times, so for sure he does know it. So if you ask about a question about it, he knows it, and that's good. If it's a contract that has been seen by two people at one moment, he will never know it. So he's capable to build something which is completely generated if you ask him about it, but it's not the real thing. So if you never train with those documents, the model will not be performing on your document. It will just be performing on the language, which is normal. But so we have to find the right model for the right document, keeping the fact that the data are not used for training your model.
Okay. Are there other pitfalls to avoid for a client?
The first one is definitely not to go with the use case. This is something which is quite easy. Not to go to use case. I've noted this is it has to be taken carefully, because in fact this model, the foundation model, the large models and so on, are very wide in terms of capabilities in terms of use case. So you should not go to the extreme part of not using the full potentialities of the model. So maybe sometimes feel a little bit larger than before, but if you do not start by the use case, and if there is no use case, there will be no value. There will be cost for sure, because this model can be expensive. Using the model, training them could be very expensive. If there is no use case, there is no value. So you have to fit the business, and definitely it's coming this way.
I'm adding a question. How long can it take to define the business cases? How often do your clients arrive without a business case and you tell them maybe not a business case, sorry, a use case?
If I speak as a consultant, most of the time my clients are not coming with a use case, they are coming with a request, which is not exactly the same. The purpose of the beginning is to be able to go from the request to go to the use case and the need itself, the requirement and not the request. And it's definitely true with generative AI, because since it's a buzzword, a lot of people are coming and asking, okay, can you do something on that with generative AI? In fact, not. With generative, I can't do anything. Okay, but on your use case, I can do something with something which is different. It's not generative AI, but it's working. So we need to go back to the requirements each time. I would say globally, to have an ideation phase and go to a couple of use cases takes a couple of days. If you do a first seminar with things and so on, to a couple of weeks. It's not long to go to from the use case to proof of concept and start things that will be scalable afterwards. It's not long if there are a lot of tools that are making capable to do it very quickly. But we have always to focus on the use case in the first step.
But at the end of the day, should clients go or not go now? I don't know.
If you remember the sentence I mentioned at the beginning of this discussion, this conversation, in 2011, someone very smart, very intelligent said that software is eating the world, and if actually today machine learning is eating software that is eating the world, then most likely the answer is yes, definitely yes, 100 times yes. And to go back to your question about pitfalls, I would highlight again the idea that models are very important, data sets, skill set, but infrastructure. Don't forget to choose the right infrastructure for what you are willing to do, because without this, either your project will be so expensive that you will stop it, or your project will be so bad in terms of performance that you will stop it. So selecting the right level of the right balance between cost and performance is very important. And she will not say it herself, but I think I can say it. At Hugging Face, we are in love of some of the infrastructure that AWS offers, specifically.
We are in love too. Thank you.
Specifically to train your models and then to generate inferences.
Thank you. I'm so moved that he's in love with AWS. Okay, so how to start?
I would say how to start the use case, and I will hand it over to David because he's the master of use cases.
No, but I will not start by how to start the use case, but how to start to on its
You
own.
love us too. Yes, we do love you too.
Yeah, but it's a good point what said Bassett, because in fact we were having a couple of discussions a couple of years ago. Shall we stay on premise or shall we go on the cloud and so on? Today with this kind of models, there is no other answer. You have to find a cloud, and you have to find a reliable cloud, secure, scalable, something which is giving high level of service. And definitely we're also big fans. But yeah, so just coming to the to how to start and why to start. There is a point which is quite clear about for me. As I was saying, that there will be some intrinsic use case and some use cases on which everyone will do, but the one that will refuse to go, definitely everyone should go. Everyone should go, and now from now on. So the first thing is we should acculturate in the companies, explain how it's working, what it's doing or not. Some companies have blocked the thing, saying, okay, no access to ChatGPT and things and so on, no access to any GPT-4, no access to any kind of model. What is creating? Nothing but shadow AI. People are using it, taking the data, copy and paste, put it on somewhere, and putting it on their personal phone or laptop with the thing. So the data are still going out, so the leakage is there, and you are not mastering at all what's coming. So for sure, you need not to stop the thing, but to acculturate. Second thing, I think, and it's coming to the use case, companies should experiment, because even if we have given a couple of concrete cases over there, it can still be a little bit, I do not see exactly how it's working, why it's working, how sensible it is to the model and so on. It's very easy. You need to experiment. Take a couple of use cases, very short sessions, things in 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. You make experimentation on some certain use case, and you do see what's going to be the usage of generating things. So I think we cannot wait for that. Acculturation, experimentation. And then, as always, I do not like the proof of concept for the proof of concept. So you should think about deployment and adoption. So for sure, the things you are testing should be compatible with scalability afterwards. But you can start with a small step, which is about acculturation and experimentation.
Thank you. So I guess I have an idea of the question of the answer to when to start.
Definitely, I've said that there is no other choice, which everyone should go now. When I'm saying that, we do have a lot of customers that are calling us saying, okay, how do we start and so on, but there is no option, according to me. There is no option. The companies that do not start looking at that are going to lose the competition somewhere at some point. And so it's going very fast, moving very fast. People should take the trend.
When to start, I was looking at the time, and I was going to say 12:30. We can start right away, so right after we finish, we can talk together. But no, jokes aside, I think as soon as you have a use case that you are not able to, a business pain that you are not able to fix for the time being, check if machine learning can help you fix it, because it offers perspectives that traditional software doesn't offer. It's not rules based. It's not gonna offer you something that will be 100% correct or exact. And if you have a use case, investigate a bit with machine learning if it can fix that use case or make it even better than what you already have, and then start experimenting. And experiment fast, because most likely at the beginning it will not work. Fail fast, it's okay. I mean, it's not a problem failing, but at least you will be able to say that machine learning can help you or cannot help you. Most likely it will be able to help you, so start as early as possible.
Just to add a point, of course, if you have the use case in mind, and it's easy, but one more time about what I said about acculturation and experimenting is also trying to open the things and make sure that maybe there are use cases you don't think about it or about them, but with acculturation things and so on, explanation things, a little bit of demonstration, you will be open the minds and then see that maybe you should experiment, and ideas will come, and definitely it's creating new opportunities. And we have seen internally the things when we have opened to our consultants a couple of tools, saying, okay, you can just play with that. They have been coming with a lot of ideas that were not here the day before, when they just ask, if you have ideas of use case for your customer, please come.
I love it. So indeed, it's 12:30. You can start. I suggest. I hope you're staying a bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there will be tons of questions for you. But we have to leave the stage to the next people. So I would like to thank you very much. Do you want to give a last word of conclusion, or do you?
On my side, it's very simple. So as I say, everyone should start. We are ready to help for sure. Bassem, we will tell the same, but we are working all together and with the WSTU to make sure that we are capable to bring into reality in a very fast track and with all these phases. So definitely, if you have any question how to start, we can help. Now.
Just wanted to thank you for organizing this, and thank you for being here, staying till the end, and keep in mind that this is about an open community. So the more people are collaborating and working on these things, the better it is. So don't hesitate.
Thank you very much.